In a quiet village where everyone knew each other's story, there lived a woman whose story no one respected. They laughed
In
at
a
her.
quiet
They
village
whispered behind her
where
back.
everyone knew
They
each
called her
other's
cursed
story.
because her
There lived a
child was
woman's
not like the
story
others.
no one respected.
But one day,
They laughed
that
at her.
same child
They
would do something
whispered
so
behind her
powerful,
back.
so
They called
unforgettable,
her cursed.
that the entire village
Stay
would
away
bow their
from
heads
them.
in shame.
They are
This is a
cursed.
story of a mother who was mocked
It is
until her
because of
child
her that
changed
this happened.
everything. In the peaceful village of Obins,
Because
surrounded
her
by
child
tall
was
trees and
not
open
like the
fields,
others.
lived a woman named Amara.
One day,
She was kind and
that
hardworking.
same child-
But
This is the
life had
story
not
of a
been
mother
easy
who
for
was
her.
mocked
Many years
until
ago,
her child
her husband
changed
died,
everything.
leaving her alone with only one child, her son, Keto. Keto was not like the other children. He did not run around the village playing games. He did not laugh loudly or shout with excitement. He did not even speak much. Most of the time, he was quiet. He watched. He listened. He observed everything around him. And because of this, the villagers did not understand him. People began to talk. "Look at that child," one woman whispered. "He is always silent. Something is not right." Another replied, "Maybe the gods are angry with his mother." Soon, the whispers turned into laughter. Children refused to play with Keto. "Stay away from him," they would say. "He is strange." Amara heard all of this, every word, every laugh, every insult, but she said nothing. At night, inside their small hut, she would sit beside her son. The soft glow of the fire lit their faces. "My child," she would say gently, "the world may not understand you, but I do." She would place her hand on his head. "You are special. Never forget that." Keto would look at her quietly, his deep eyes calm and thoughtful. Though he said nothing, it felt as if he understood everything. Life in the village was not easy for Amara. Every morning, she woke up before the sun. She went to the farm. She carried heavy firewood. She sold small goods in the market. But no matter how hard she worked, people still avoided her. One day in the market, a woman waved her away. "Take your child somewhere else," she said. "He scares people." Amara felt the pain in her heart, but she remained strong. She picked up her basket and walked away quietly. Keto followed her, as always, silent and watchful. One evening, something unusual happened. The sky began to change. Dark clouds gathered quickly, covering the sun. Strong winds began to blow. The villagers rushed around, trying to secure their homes. But Keto stood still. He looked up at the sky, his eyes focused. Then slowly, he raised his hand and pointed toward the forest. Amara looked at him, confused. "Keto, what is it?" For the first time in a long while, Keto spoke. "Danger coming." Amara's heart skipped. She had never heard him speak so clearly before. Without wasting time, she ran into the village. "Please," she called out, "listen to me. My son says danger is coming." But the villagers only laughed. "Your silent child speaks now," one man mocked. "Go home." "Amara," another said, "stop embarrassing yourself." No one listened. No one believed her. That night, the storm came. It was stronger than anyone expected. Thunder roared across the sky. Rain poured heavily. The wind howled like a wild animal. Then suddenly, the river overflowed. Water rushed into the village with force. Homes began to collapse. People screamed in fear. Everything turned into chaos. "Help! The water is rising," voices cried. In the middle of the confusion, Keto remained calm. He took his mother's hand and began to walk, not randomly, but with purpose. He led her toward higher ground. Then he turned and began guiding others. He pointed to safe paths. He showed them where to step. He helped them avoid danger. At first, people hesitated. But as the water rose higher, they had no choice. They followed him. The same child they once mocked was now leading them to safety. Step by step, he guided them out of danger, through the darkness, through the rising water, through fear. By the time the storm began to calm, many lives had been saved. Because of Keto, morning came slowly. The rain stopped. The wind became silent. The village was no longer the same. Many homes were destroyed, but many people were alive because of the child they once rejected. The villagers gathered together. There was no laughter this time. No whispers, only silence. The village elder stepped forward. He looked at Amara, then at Keto. "We were wrong," he said softly. "We mocked what we did not understand." Another villager lowered his head. "Please forgive us." One by one, others followed. Shame filled their hearts. Amara stood quietly. She looked at her son. Tears filled her eyes, not of sadness, but of pride. For the first time, the village saw what she had always known. Keto was not strange. He was special. From that day on, everything changed. The villagers welcomed them. They treated Amara with respect. And Keto was no longer avoided. He was honored, not for speaking loudly, not for being like others, but for being exactly who he was. And so, the story teaches us something important. Sometimes, the people we laugh at are the ones who will save us. Sometimes, greatness hides in silence. And sometimes, a mother's belief in her child is stronger than the judgment of the whole world. So never mock what you do not understand. Never judge someone for being different, because one day, that difference may change everything. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone. And remember, kindness sees what the eyes cannot.